Am I the idiot for the way I respond to my new co-workers' personal questions? I, 28F, am a foster kid. Long story short. Dad drug dealer, mom drug addict, mom died and dad went to jail for life, no family to take me on, and bounced in the system from the ages of 7 to 18. Then I became homeless, worked as an escort, and went to college, and this is currently my second corporate job. As you might imagine, I do not like to talk about my personal life. Even more so because of my first corporate job, where I was the last to be given time off during holidays or summer because I was a single woman without children. When I started at my current job, I made the decision that I was not going to get to know anyone. Colleagues will stay just that, colleagues. So I arrive at my desk at 8:45, I'm out the door at 5, I take my lunch break outside the office, don't take my breaks with the others, and refuse all invites to things outside work. My new colleagues got the hint when I just said, no thank you, when they would invite me, when I opted out of the secret son even though it was obvious that I celebrated, and when instead of going to a colleague's wedding, I RSVP'd no, then sent a gift. They leave me alone, and I leave them alone, but we are friendly, and am happy to lend a hand when needed. Then this woman started with us almost 3 months ago. She is very outgoing and social, made friends with the whole office within the first week, and seems to take it as a personal challenge that I do not talk about my personal life. At first, I was director ECT but polite. I told her, hey colleague, I appreciate that you want to get to know me, but I am an extremely private person and do not like to mix my professional and personal life together. After taking her aside away from others, well, instead of backing off, she doubled her efforts. And it's not in a creepy way, or a way that would allow me to go to HR, but I do not like it. Finally fed up with her, instead of trying to redirect her ECT the conversation, or changing the subject, I just stare at her dead in the eye without saying anything. Yesterday she came by my desk and asked if I had plans this weekend. I said yes I do, but didn't elaborate. Then she asked me what my plans were, and if I had someone special that I was going to spend my time with. So I just stared her dead in the eye and said nothing for minutes. At first, she was annoyed, then she started rambling, then she turned red and left in a hurry. Another colleague sitting close by gave me this disappointed look and told me that they understood I was a private person, but that was no way to treat someone who was genuinely friendly, someone who was trying to include me in the social life of the office. So am I the idiot? The top replies, not the idiot, but I don't know what your aspirations are, so take this for what it is worth. I am an executive VP in corporate. I am also a very private person. However, I will tell you that this behavior will impact your career. You need to learn to navigate an acceptable level, to you, of socialization with coworkers. You can still do this without telling anyone about your history. Something I had to take some time to learn. Good luck, and for what it's worth, I don't think your past is anything to be ashamed of. In fact, I find it extremely inspiring and a true credit to how hard you have worked and your strength. Again, you do not have to ever share your story, but someone else may be inspired by what you went through and how far you have come. The second reply, not the idiot, original poster, please listen to this advice. Reputation is important in the corporate world, and networking will make a huge difference to your career going forward. You must learn how to get along with people if you want to advance. I'm an extremely private person IRL, and I come from an abusive background. The most helpful tool I ever learned was the art of gray rocking, be vague, be boring, and immediately change the subject. Nothing interesting here, move along. And the best deflection is always to turn the conversation back to them. This will leave them with a pleasant interaction without realizing you gave them nothing. Build a social shell comprised of small harmless things that will let people build a picture of you. Second story. My stepbrother killed himself last night and I feel nothing. My mum and stepdad, who is my dad in every way that counts, were married when I was a toddler and brought with him 5 kids from a previous marriage, one being the brother this post is about. From the ages of 6 to 10, this brother did everything possible to make my life a living hell, locking me in cupboards, leading me to have claustrophobia, chasing me with bugs and spiders, calling me the most horrible words including the R word, I am autistic, and sexually abusing me. I won't go into detail about the things he did. When my parents found out, they blew up, and it went as far as the police, however, was dropped due to it being my word against his. My dad, bless him, made the hardest choice to not have his son in his life, but my mum overrode that and let him back in. So I had to be civil to a man who had tortured me. To say I was angry was an understatement, and I rebelled badly as a teenager. I carried that anger with me into my early 20s, cut everyone off, and went on a journey of self-healing. When I came back, I made it clear that I didn't consider my stepbrothers as a part of my family and wanted nothing to do with them. The others did my dad wrong by stealing from him and abandoning him when my mum died. I haven't seen this man in over 20 years, and so it means nothing to me he is dead. Nothing. I just needed to get that off my chest. Edit to say, I appreciate every comment of support and encouragement you guys have shown. It has been amazing, and I give virtual hugs to you all. However, I need to clear up a few things. I forgave my brother a long time ago for what he did. I will not grieve him, but that doesn't mean others aren't grieving him, and my morals would never allow me to feel like celebrating or having a party. A better way to put it is I can easily move on and not think about him, because it was wrong of me to say I feel nothing. I do feel sad for the people he left behind. I feel relief that he took with him the fear that one day I would see him again, the fear that it would happen again, fear of everything where he was concerned. I wrote this as a vent, but through the comments, I realized just how much work I have done on myself, because I don't hate him anymore. I don't wish him ill will after death, and I won't be dancing on his grave. The top reply. I completely understand you. I have a sister that made my life hard and miserable through years of physical and mental abuse. We haven't spoken in 14 years, and I don't consider her my sister or family at all, and do not care one bit for her. I've made it clear with my parents and other siblings I do not want her in my life and do not care to make amends. It took a while to get over the pain, but that doesn't mean I've forgotten. I just live my life with the people that I love and care about. You don't owe anyone crap but to yourself only. The second reply. You don't owe anyone anything. Especially someone who caused you so much pain. I can relate to your story. My dad's mom, I called her Nanny, was thought of by many as a lovely woman. A nurse, a baker, a maker of many wedding cakes and cookies. When she died, I heard so many, you must miss her. She died roughly 8-ish years ago, and I have yet to shed a tear for the old cow. She was a racist who regularly insulted my mother and I to my face. She constantly made fun of me and put me down for no reason. I do not miss her, and I never will. It doesn't matter if they're family. Blood only runs so thick. The original poster replies, I am so very sorry you had racist slurs thrown at you. That's horrid. That's one of the worst things about it for me. My dad is not biological, and yet he did more for me than my own mum did. I did everything I could as a child to win her love, my teens and early 20s feeling pure rage, the rest of my 20s on a journey of self-healing, and my 30s physically repairing the damage my body has gone through. So I can't see me shedding tears for any person who contributed to the pain and suffering I caused. I forgive them to take my power back, but feel nothing after that. Third story. My 31F husband, 31M, and I have been married for 8 years, and we have children. He was in the Navy for several years and recently got out. Our relationship was basically put on hold while he was active duty because he was gone so much. It was just one goodbye/homecoming after another and pretty much zero normalcy. We've always been prone to fighting, and some say that maybe we shouldn't have even gotten married in the first place because of how much we struggle to get along. Perhaps that is right, but here we are. And I would like to avoid divorce if possible. My husband gets extremely overwhelmed by just about anything that isn't running perfectly smoothly. He's extremely melancholic, and when things are great, he will say, everything sucks, and, my life is an absolute nightmare. He will say these things about something as simple as a child spilling their drink at dinner. When he gets overwhelmed, he tends toward anger. Needless to say, it puts the entire family on edge. He will shout, he will use profanity, he will storm off and be really abrasive. He has certainly tended toward verbal and emotional abuse before. We have been in marriage counseling several times and are currently doing it. He seems on board with this behavior being problematic. He knows that I hate it, and he agrees it's harmful for the children. However, it's not stopping. One of us could make one wrong move and he will blow up. In the end, I know he's suffering from depression. He won't help himself though. How much do I push the issue, and how do I explain that he will lose me and the kids if he doesn't improve this? Before, any ultimatum has been met with absolute disregard because he doesn't believe they are right. I disagree. I think they are simply a clear statement of consequences for certain actions. In this case, if he doesn't stop with the emotional outbursts and seek treatment for his anger/depression, I will have to separate myself and the children from him. I want to help, but I don't know where to draw the line. I can't spend my entire life with someone who treats me this way when he gets mad. I also need to think about my kids. The top replies. You basically answered your own question. You need to tell him that this is a completely serious issue for you and that you won't put yourself or your kids in an abusive situation. From your post, you didn't mention anything physical, but people don't fly off the deep end about little things forever. Eventually they're going to be extra angry, or extra panic attacked or extra drunk or whatever one day, and it's going to become physical. Does he take any kind of anxiety meds? Original poster replies. He needs to. 100%. One of the biggest problems I have with him is that he does not help himself. He complains of hunger, yet he won't feed himself. He complains that he's not getting all of his workouts in during the week, yet he wakes up late or wakes up early and does nothing for the 2 hours he could be working out. He wakes up every morning and groans about how miserable he is, yet he won't talk to a therapist or get meds. The second reply. So I'm going to talk about this from the point of once having been the kid with the absent father turned emotionally and verbally abusive father once I had to be around them regularly. My mother was of the opinion that it's better to stay together for the kids. I don't agree. Right now his behavior is having extremely negative impacts on your children. It may not come out for a few years, but it is causing trauma and damage to your children's mental health. It doesn't matter how much you think you are shielding them. You are not doing as good a job as you think. It's impossible to completely shield them in situations like this, and this will impact them later in life. If you will not leave for your own well-being, leave for your children's. He is not willing to seek help or accept help. Until he does, he is a danger to your children, and to you. If you want to work on the relationship, do it in separate households. Get that distance and that time to rebuild. However, based on what you said, it does not sound like he actually wants to change. So be prepared for the separation to be a permanent one. And be prepared to argue for your kids and proper custody of your kids in court. Because he is military, he is going to have support to try and get custody, but until he changes, he should not be allowed to have 50/50 or more custody. Fourth story. My friend is cheating on her husband, and knowing about it makes me feel guilty. I am not sure if this is the correct place to post this. My 24F friend's coworker 25F is cheating her husband 27M. Me and my boyfriend 25M frequently hang out with them as they are a fun couple to hang out with. A few months ago she started talking to this guy 38M. At first she said he creeped her out, but as time went on they got very friendly. She started texting and calling him all the time. She would step out at work to just chat with him on the phone, and she sees him almost every day. For months this emotional affair has gone on. She is in so deep. She is getting him a birthday present, and says things like, "I better be the only girl besides his wife." About a week ago, she told me that she has also started having sex with this guy. I asked if she's worried about getting caught, and she said she is confident that she won't because the guy she is cheating with is also married. They have a mutual understanding that you don't call at certain hours, and she deletes all evidence off of her phone. At first I was telling my boyfriend about this, but he asked me to stop telling him because he is friends with her husband and he feels guilty knowing this and then hanging out with him. So I haven't told him anything about it since it first started going on. I also feel guilty for knowing all of this and looking at her husband like everything is fine. I feel sorry for him. Her and her husband have been together for 8 years. She has talked about having children with him in the future. She says she loves her husband and she doesn't know why she can't cut off contact with this guy. I have expressed many times how wrong what she's doing is, and I have also expressed concern that she will get caught and her life will be ruined. Sometimes I feel guilty for knowing all of these details and not sharing them with my boyfriend. Even though he requested I tell him nothing about it, I can't help but feel like I am also lying and hiding things. I feel like an accomplice and I don't know what to do. I don't know how long she plans to keep this up, but I feel like our friendship will be ruined over this because this has been eating me up with guilt. The top replies. You are the company you keep. Think about it. She has you lying to her husband as well with, at a minimum, a lie by omission. By the same token, you're also lying to your boyfriend. She's not a friend at the moment. She's an accomplice in an illicit affair, and think about it. If that guy is willing to cheat on his wife with your coworker, what makes you think he's not cheating on your coworker as well? And how often does your coworker get tested for STIs? And what happens if the birth control fails? No, I would absolutely tell your coworker that she needs to break it off and confess to her husband, or you will have to tell him yourself. You should not be a party to her deception and lies anymore. Second reply. Please for the love of God tell her husband before she gets pregnant and tries to pawn off this other dude's child on her husband, or if it's actually her husband's kid then he'll stuck with a woman for the rest of his life, or a minimum 18 years. He'll find out eventually and will probably find out that you know, and you and your boyfriend will lose a friend that did nothing bad to you guys. Would you want to know if your boyfriend was effing other chicks behind your back? Jesus Christ, tell that man what is going on. I wonder what your boyfriend thinks about you for not telling her husband, or probably telling your boyfriend not to tell him. Grow a fucking spine. Third reply. I used to have a boyfriend, and I was also close with his brother and his girlfriend, who's also my friend. Every time she left town, he was cheating. I didn't say anything when he was with the first girl, and it was one of the worst situations I was in because we were in the same circle. But when he changed to another one, I knew I had to do something. So I told her not to leave town, just stay somewhere nearby, and when I called her, just come. I didn't tell her what or why she should just come to her boyfriend. It happened where he was with his other girl in the room my friend came in. It was a huge fight. And they broke up. Now she's very happy with 2 children and a very good husband. My point is, don't wait to tell her husband. It's not fair, and you are supporting a cheater in a way. Your friend has zero morals while she's been cheating on her husband at the same time she's been sleeping with somebody else's husband. You discuss with your husband how you are going to tell him. Don't do it behind your husband's back.